Okay. My talk is going to require audience participation. I want you all to close your eyes. And I want you guys to imagine. Imagine walking into a hospital, excited to give birth to a beautiful new life. You feel that something's going wrong, so you tell the nurse. The nurse tells you, just shake it off. Everything's going to be fine. It's normal to experience nervousness before giving birth. Something, in fact, was wrong. Or imagine having a sharp ongoing pain in your leg. You go to the hospital and tell the doctor, who just tells you to shake it off because the pain was just in your head. The pain was, in fact, not just in your head. Black people, more specifically Black women's, physical and mental health is not taken seriously by the healthcare industries in America. In the 19th century, the so-called father of modern gynecology, Dr. James Marion Sims, experimented on his patients who were Black enslaved women. We don't know those victims' full names, but we do know 3 of those victims' first names: Anacha, Betsy, and Lucy. Dr. Sims experimented on Black women's reproductive systems without giving them any anesthesia. Let me repeat that. A doctor experimented on Black women's reproductive systems without giving them any anesthesia. How could someone do this to another human being? He did this because he believed that Black people couldn't feel any type of pain. And at that time, Black people weren't seen as human. But why does this matter? Well, first, it matters because I am a Black woman. And it also matters because there are still family physicians, emergency physicians, psychiatrists, gynecologists, neurologists, and more in the medical industry today who still have false beliefs like Dr. Sims, and that Black patients are left in the hands of. And this matters because I am a Black woman, once again, and I deserve to be treated like a human being. Serena Williams is a famous example, as she's a victim of these false beliefs. She told a nurse that something was wrong during her labor. The nurse thought that her pain medicine might be making her confused. Miss Williams insisted on a CT scan, and when the doctors finally gave her one, small blood clots were found settled in her lungs. When she went in for surgery, doctors found a hematoma had filled her abdomen. A filter was placed in one of her major veins to keep more blood clots from traveling to her lungs. If Miss Williams didn't insist on care from the doctors, she would have died. Miss Williams' fame helped bring this issue to the forefront, but there are still countless Black women who aren't famous, who have suffered at the hands of medical establishment due to bias. One study of 400 hospitals at the United States showed that Black patients with heart disease receive older and cheaper treatments than the white patients. After surgery, they're discharged earlier from white patients at a stage when discharge is inappropriate. The University of Minnesota School of Public Health looked through 1.8 million Florida hospital births between 1992 and 2015. They found that Black newborns are 3 times more likely to die than white newborns. But when the doctor that cared for newborns was Black, the mortality rate of Black newborns was cut in half, cut by 50%. Now, I want you all to close your eyes again. Imagine you're a mother of 5, it's 1951, and you have abnormal bleeding in your reproductive area. So, you go to the Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. You go under several treatments for cervical cancer, but sadly passed away in 1951 at 31 years old. But a doctor, Dr. Gay, saw that your cells doubled every 24 hours, unlike other patients with cervical cancer. So, your cells were then, and still are, used to study the human genome, to test the effects of radiation, played a role in the development of the polio vaccine, and so much more. But guess what? This is a real story of Henrietta Lacks. On August 2021, she would have turned 101 years old. Her cells have lived 70 years longer than she did. Her family is now suing a biotech company that have used her cells without their permission. Why? Why are Black people's mental and physical health not taken seriously? And why is this still going on today? Because of the racist mindsets and concepts integrated into society and medical education. Before 1865, American medical schools were completely closed to Black students, while a select number of northern schools allowed some Black students admission. In 1920, Abraham Flexner, the so-called father of modern medical education, reported that, quote, the practice of the Negro doctor will be limited to his own race, end quote. But, quote, the medical care of the Negro race will never be left wholly to the Negro physicians, end quote. As a result of this, there are many medical books that have racial bias and beliefs, like Dr. Sims and Flexner, creating medical apartheid. Medical apartheid is a term in a book created by Harriet A. Washington, which talks about the dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans, from colonial times to the present. Gaslighting is a specific type of manipulation where the manipulator is trying to get someone else or even a group of people to question their own reality, memory, perceptions, or even experiences. The 20th century still faces medical apartheid, but it's easier to report cases of racial injustice in the healthcare system. Maybe not in the exact moment due to frequent gaslighting, but on social media. Many, not just Black women, but Black men as well, record racist and biased encounters with the medical system and post them online. Now, there are more available Black-owned hospitals, Black nurses, Black doctors, and socially conscious people of different races and backgrounds in the medical system that are aware of this injustice. But sadly, in 2019, the Association of American Medical Colleges say that only 2.6% of the United States doctors are Black. The reason why is another story. But this data shouldn't matter. We as Black people should not have to take extra steps to ensure that our health is taken seriously by healthcare professionals. We are normal human beings who deserve the same care as others. Thank you.